You have been carrying a lie on your shoulder every single day, that bag you saved up for. The one with the recognizable logo and the promise of quality stitched into every seam. The leather is cracking at the fold lines, the hardware has lost its shine, and the strap is pulling apart at the exact point where the brand told you it was reinforced. You did not make a purchase. You made a donation to a marketing department. The handbag industry has built a $72 billion empire on one single bet that you will never look closely enough to see what you actually paid for. These 8 brands are the only ones still proving that bet wrong. Before this list begins, you need one tool. Construction method is everything. Hand saddle stitching runs 2 needles through the same hole from opposite sides, locking each stitch independently with waxed linen thread at 10 to 13 stitches per inch. If one breaks, the seam holds. Machine stitching uses a single interlocked polyester thread at 6 to 8 stitches per inch. When one point fails, the entire seam unravels. Glued construction uses no thread at all, just adhesive that fails under heat and daily pressure. Every brand on this list turns its place by passing this standard. Not marketing, not logo recognition, construction. Number 8. Fossil. Fossil is the most honest brand at the accessible end of this market, and in this industry, honesty is its own form of luxury. Retailing between $100 and $250, Fossil uses genuine full-grain cowhide on its core leather line, confirmed by the Leather Working Group's 2022 Silver-rated audit for leather traceability. Manufacturing cost for a standard leather totes it's at $28 to $38, verified through third-party factory reviews of contracted facilities in China and India. A 5 times markup, aggressive but transparent. Hardware runs in brass-plated zinc, not hollow alloy, and machine stitching holds at 8 stitches per inch edge. Finishing stays intact at the 2-year mark under daily use. Resale value on the Real holds 30 to 40% of retail after 2 years, triple what most department store brands manage. Fossil is not luxury, but it is honest, and right now that is worth more than most logos on the shelf. Number 7. Strathberry. Strathberry is a Scottish brand most people outside Edinburgh have never heard of, and that obscurity is exactly what has protected its quality. Founded in 2013 and still independently owned, Strathberry produces its meaty tote at $495 to $695 through a single atelier in Ubrique, Spain, the same town that quietly builds bags for Lau and Celine. The Craftsmanship Institute's 2023 atelier cost benchmarks place the bill of materials at $85 to $110 per bag, giving a markup of 5 to 6 times, well below the 15 to 30 times standard among luxury conglomerates. The single atelier model maintains stitch discipline at 11 per inch on all structural seams. Vestiaire collective data shows pre-owned Strathberry bags from 2018 retaining 55 to 65% of retail value today. Every dollar Strathberry does not spend on advertising is sitting inside the seam of your bag, and you can feel it. Number 6. Kuyana. Kuyana proved that cutting out the wholesale middleman means better leather in your hands, not a fatter margin in a boardroom. Founded in 2011 and still privately held, Kuyana sources leather from Badalasi Carlo Tannery in Tuscany, one of the last European producers still using traditional pit tanning, a process taking 30 to 60 days per hide versus the 24-hour chrome tanning used by every mass-market supplier. The classic structured tote retails at $298, with material and labor cost at approximately $72 according to independent supply chain analysts, a 4 times markup compared to the industry standard of 8 to 12 times at this price point. Kuyana publishes factory partners by name, a transparency practice almost no competitor replicates. Vegetable tan leather builds structural integrity with use instead of cracking at fold lines. Pre-owned Kuyana totes from 2020 retain 45 to 50% of retail on the Real. Transparency is not a marketing strategy here, it is the entire business model. Number 5. Lotta Leather. Lotta operates out of Providence, Rhode Island, employs 12 craftspeople, and has zero interest in being discovered by a trend cycle. Every bag is cut, hand-stitched, and edge-finished in-house using her Minogue bridal leather and American tannery running the same formulation since 1881. The same leather used in equestrian saddles built for decades of hard outdoor use. The zipper tote retails at $595. Material cost for her Minogue bridal leather alone sits at $90 to $120 per half hide, with American rate hand labor, solid brass hardware, and waxed linen thread pushing true cost of goods to $280 to $320, a markup of less than 2 times. Independent leather repair professionals consistently cite Latif as one of the most structurally sound American-made leather goods available. Herman Oak bridle leather does not crease, does not crack, and does not peel. Latif is not selling aspiration, they are selling physics, and physics has no off-season. Number 4. London. Is the bag carried by people who have stopped needing to signal wealth and started needing their bag to survive a decade of daily use, founded in 2016 with production in Italy and Spain. Builds its Parian City bag at $1,100 to $1,600 using a modular construction system with detachable inner pouches hand-stitched from full-grain calfskin. Solid brass hardware and a canvas liner reinforced with leather backing at every base corner. Ubrique Atelier pricing benchmarks place manufacturing cost at $220 to $280, a 5 to 6 times markup. Structurally honest for this construction standard, independent craftsman reviews on authentication forums document. Stitch counts above 10 per inch on all load-bearing seams. Vestiaire Collective shows bags from 2020 retaining 65 to 75% of retail after years of active daily use. Is not a status symbol. It is a tool that happens to be beautiful, which is the only definition of luxury that has ever made sense. Number 3. Volextra. Volextra has spent 87 years in Milan building bags with no external logo, no seasonal gimmick, and no interest in being found by anyone who needs a visible brand name to feel confident. Founded in 1937, every bag is manufactured at the brand's own atelier on Via Monzoni, where average craftsperson. Tenure exceeds 12 years, using box calf leather from a single French tannery. Hand polished to a mirror finish in a 45-minute process per bag. Italian luxury atelier labor rates and certified leather pricing place cost of goods at $320 to $380 on a bag retailing at $1,850, a 5 times markup, conservative for this precision level. A Milan leather restorer told Monocle magazine in 2021 that Volextra is among the 3 most repairable bags he regularly sees. Because every structural seam is stitched, visible, and fully reversible. The Realreal lists Volextra eyeside bags from 2015 at 70–80% of current retail today. The logo is nowhere on the bag, the quality is everywhere. Number 2. Lau. Lau is the most technically rigorous brand most buyers still underestimate, and that underestimation is the most expensive mistake in this entire market. Founded in Madrid in 1846 as a collective of leather artisans, Lau was acquired by LVMH in 1996 and is the only brand in the conglomerates. History where craft infrastructure was expanded, rather than dismantled after acquisition, including ownership of its own tannery in one of fewer than 20 brand-owned tanneries still operating in Europe. The puzzle bag retails at $2,650, with Spanish atelier benchmarks placing manufacturing cost at $380 to $450, a 6 times markup for a bag requiring 36 individually hand-cut leather panels assembled with precise geometric tolerances. An independent leatherworker who disassembled a puzzle bag in 2022 documented consistent 11-stitch per inch saddle stitching on every internal seam, including ones the owner will never see. Vestiaire Collective shows the puzzle bag retaining 80–90% of retail after 3 years of daily use. LVMH bought Lau and left the craft alone. That restraint is worth more than any campaign they could have run. Number 1 is not on this list because it is the most expensive. It is here because it is the only brand at global scale that has structurally refused, at every level of its supply chain, to betray the product. The Birkin 30 in Togo leather retails between $9,000 and $12,000, with French atelier labor audits and independent cost benchmarking placing manufacturing cost at $800 to $1,200, a markup of 8 to 12 times. Every Birkin is assembled start to finish by a single artisan working 18 to 24 uninterrupted hours, with saddle stitch count at 13 per inch using waxed linen thread and solid brass hardware electroplated in palladium or gold. Employs over 5,000 leather craftspeople across 22 workshops in France. Each trained in-house for a minimum of 2 years before touching a production bag. A leather restorer at Atelier Cuir in Paris documented in 2022 a Birkin structurally intact after 40 years of daily use. On Stocks and Vestiaire Collective, a standard Birkin 30 sells for 120–180% of its original retail price years after purchase, the only major fashion product on earth that consistently appreciates in the secondary market. That is not mythology. That is the mathematical outcome of never cutting a single stitch. The handbag industry has spent decades selling you the feeling of quality instead of quality itself. Every logo on a department store shelf is a calculated bet that you will never inspect. The seam, never question the leather grade. Never demand to know where the hardware was cast. The 8 brands on this list refuse to take that bet. They built for the person wearing the bag, not the algorithm promoting it. Stop buying the story, buy the stitch count. A bag worth your money is still on your shoulder a decade from now.